Hi there, Mr. Holcomb here with another episode of The Math Behind the Modules. This is Lesson 5, Understanding Subtraction of Integers and Other Rational Numbers. Okay, today you're going to be playing an integer. So each of you should have a deck of cards, and from that deck of cards, take out the jacks, queens, and kings, and don't use jokers. So we're going to use ace, 2, 3, 4, all the way up through 10, and that's it. Okay? Your hearts and your diamonds, which are red suits, will be negatives, and your clubs and spades, which are black suits, will be positives. So I have a generating machine over here, random generator, and I'm going to use that to explain what you are to do with your deck of cards. So the first card that I drew was a negative 10. Diamonds are red, negative 10. Okay? Then I'm going to draw again. This time I got a 2 and it's black, so it's a positive 2. And then I'm going to draw again, and it's a positive 6 because it's black, it's positive. And again, I'm going to draw a 9, and that one's a diamond, that means negative. The reds are negative. It says write the value of your hand in the totals column. So it said to start round 1 by selecting 4 cards, follow the steps for each round of play. Write the value of your hand in the total column. Negative 10 plus 2 is negative 8. Plus 6 is negative 2, minus 9 is negative 11. Okay? Then it says action. After each action, calculate your new total and record it under the appropriate results column. So I'm going to now go over my actions to draw a card, and I got an 8, and it's negative. So I'm going to just draw this over here. And action, and I'm going to put, I selected negative 8. Result, negative 11, minus 8 is negative 19. Description, score decreased by 8. Score decreased by 8. Action 2, we're going to now draw again. So I'm going to discard that 4. Hang on. Okay, sorry about that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're not going to draw any more cards. We are now going to get rid of the first card, which was a negative 10. So the action 2 was discard negative 10. Result, we're adding 10 since we're getting rid of it. So now my total is 2 plus 6, which is 8. Minus 9 is negative 1. Minus 8 is negative 9. Okay, so the description is score increased by 10. Okay, and there's round 1. Okay, let's try it one more time. So let me get rid of my cards that I had here, just to give you an idea. Change the color this time. Okay, so I'm going to draw a card, and it's an ace. Aces count as 1, and it's positive because it's a black card. Draw again. This time I got a positive 9. Draw again. This time it's a positive 1. Draw again. And this time it's a positive 4. So I'm going to take those 4 cards, total them up. 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 1 is 11, plus 4 is 15. So my total is 15, and I draw a card. The card I drew was a negative 6. So I'm going to subtract 6. So I selected a negative 6. My result is 9 because 15 minus 6 is 9. My score, I'm just going to save some time here now. My score decreased by 6. Score decreased by 6. And then I'm going to discard my first card, so I'm down to 4 again. And I discarded 1. So my score is going to go from negative 6 plus 1, which is negative 5. So my score increased by 1. Okay, so you draw 4 cards, total them. Draw another card, add that into the mix, then get rid of the first card, And that's your description at the end. Okay, hopefully you got that, and we'll move on. Okay, now that you've finished the game, you have a discussion about this, making connections to the integer subtraction. So question 1, how did selecting positive value cards change the value of your hand? Okay, selecting positive value cards increased the value. How did selecting negative value cards change the value of your hand? Well, that decreased the value. How did discarding positive values cards change the value of your hand? Discarding positive decreased value. How did discarding negative card values change the hand value? Discarding negatives increased. Okay? What operation reflects selecting a card? What operation reflects selecting a card? Okay. The operation is addition. Even though it's negative, we are adding negative numbers. What operation reflects discarding or removing cards? That would have been subtraction. Based on the game, can you make a prediction about what happens to the result when subtracting a positive integer? Okay. What happens when you subtract a positive integer? Okay. The hand value will decrease by that amount. Okay. B, subtracting negative integers. The hand value will increase. By the absolute value of the negative integer. By the absolute value of negative integer. Okay. Example 2. Following along with your teacher to complete the diagrams below. 4, if we drew a 4 and then a 2, 4 plus 2 equals so we start at 0, we draw a vector to 4, and then add 2 more, and we get to 6. Okay. Show that discarding, subtracting a positive card, which is the same as subtracting a positive number, decreases the value of the hand. So now it said, so what you would say is, if I discard the 2, my score would decrease by 2. Because I still have the 4 in my hand. So we went from 6. If we got rid of the 2, we'd get rid of this vector, in other words, and we're back to 4, which is the value of this card. Next example. So if we get rid of this 2 now, 4 plus 2 minus 2 equals 4. So now we are going to go from 0 to 4, which is what we had. And then we added 2 from above, which gave us 6. But now we're going to get rid of this vector here. So in doing so, we would come down to here, and we would have that original 4 plus 2, but then we would get rid of 2 by going back from our total to here. That's my minus 2. And so 4 plus 2 minus 2 brings us back to our 4. So these two cancel each other out. So removing or subtracting a positive card changes the score in this same way as adding a card whose value is the additive inverse. Okay, there's that term from lesson 2 and 3. That's the opposite. In this case, adding the corresponding negative such that four minus 2 equals 4 plus negative 2. So subtracting a positive Q value is represented on the number line as moving to the left on okay. Alright, so here's the next one. We always start at 0. Going to go to the right 4, and then it says minus 2, so we're now going to go back 2, and our answer is 2. How does removing the negative card change the score or value of the hand? Okay, so you would say if I remove or discard the negative 2, my score would increase by 2. Because I still have a 4 in my hand here. I'm not going to write that though. If I remove the negative 2, my score would increase by 2. So if I remove this green arrow, my score is now going to go from 2 back to my original vector length, which is 4. Okay? So in essence, what we're saying is 4 plus a negative 2 minus a negative 2 equals 4. Minus a negative means plus, so minus 2 plus 2 is 0 because they're additive inverses, so 4 plus 0 is 4. In essence, that's what's happening. Okay, so 4 plus negative 2 minus negative 2 equals 4, and let's show that here. We start at 0, we go over to 4, and then we subtract that this way, and then we get rid of this arrow, so we end up back. Okay? So, and then down here, or would be the same as saying 4 plus a negative 2 plus 2. So here would be the model for that. Went over 4, went back 2, but instead of just negating that negative, we're just going to add it back. So 4 minus 2 plus 2 is also. So removing or subtraction, a negative subtracting a negative card changes the score in the same way as adding a card. Whose value is the additive or opposite. In this case, adding the corresponding positive such that such that 4 minus negative 2 equals 4 plus 2. Okay, so the rule of subtraction. Subtracting a number is the same as adding its additive inverse or opposite. Using the rule of subtraction, rewrite the following subtraction sentences as addition sentences and solve using the number line below if needed. So 8 is going to stay the same. Instead of saying minus, I'm going to say plus, and then it's going to be negative 2 equals. So if I use the number line here, I'd go over to 8, I would take away 2, and I'd end up at 6. Okay? You try the rest, pause this video, see if you can do them, and when you're ready, hit play again. Okay, now that we're back, I'm now going to change this. So this is going to be 4. Now this is a minus 9, so I'm going to say plus a negative 9. Negative 9, here, let me fix this. 4 plus a negative 9 equals. So I'm going to come down here. 4 negative 9. Here to here is 4, from here to here is 5, 5 and 4 is 9, and we ended up at negative. Okay? Negative 3 plus a negative 7. Start at 0, negative 3, and then negative 7 more, and that's going to be negative 10. Okay? This one, negative 9 minus a negative 2 plus 2. Remember, removing a negative is the same as adding. So negative 9 minus negative 2 is negative 9 plus 2. So think of it as negative 9. And then we're going to remove the negative 2. So in other words, we're going to add 2. And we end up at negative 7. Okay, finding the difference. So we're first going to turn this into negative 2 plus 5. And I won't take the time to do the model anymore. That's 3. 11 minus a negative is plus 8, which is 19. And negative 10 minus a negative is plus 4, which equals negative 6. So now it says write an equivalent expression that represents the situation. What is the difference in the elevations? An airplane flies at an altitude of 25,000 feet. A submarine dives at a depth of 600 feet below sea level. So I would say 25,000 minus below sea level. Okay. So we want to know the difference between the elevations of two things, the difference in their elevations. minus, and below sea level is a negative value, negative 600. That would be 25,000 plus 600, which equals 25,600 feet. Okay, here is the lesson summary. Review that. That's the end of the lesson. Now do your exit ticket and your problem set.